What's up, everybody? This is Steve Chambers coming at you. Today I have a special guest. Her name is Sherine. Why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Hey guys, so I'm Sherine and I am a personal trainer and I also compete in powerlifting. I've done bikini shows, figure, and I'm also a soccer player. So I've done a lot of, I guess, like sports as well, like throughout high school. Um, yeah, so thanks for having me.
For sure. So let's talk about right away. How's business going lately? How do you feel like all this stuff going on right now has affected your business?
So honestly, like it has taken a hit on a lot of my clients because I find a lot of my clients need that in-person accountability and, to be able to actually be there doing the workouts. So like even for me, when we, had to quarantine and everything, for the first 6 weeks, I was like, oh my God, like this is a huge adjustment. Like what do I do, right? And like I would try to keep in contact with my clients as much as I could just to see like where they're at and how they are mentally, and how their health is, just making sure that they're not sick or anything. And then there came a point where I was like, you know what, like I'm good at what I do. I feel like I can help in even the smallest way. So then that's when I kind of started to do like virtual groups, right? And I think what is missing, especially when with a lot of people who like live by themselves or don't have like family here, is they don't know who to like go to. So I find when you run like the big groups, a lot of the girls have seen like a positive vibe through that,
Yeah, like
right? So it's
they have
like,
a community again.
yeah, so it was actually really awesome because like I get like a few people in and then I would try to invite more people and then it would just start growing, and I would get like great feedback after the classes saying like, oh my God, like I haven't sweat like this in so long. And the stuff we do is like I don't even require a lot of equipment.
Mhm.
So like taking that 45 minutes out of someone's day just to be like, hey, let's do some jumping jacks or do this is huge for them, right? Because like I
Yeah,
feel like they don't have that accountability for themselves or discipline for themselves right now, and it's really hard to build that up
I
when you
agree
kind of like
100%.
when you don't really have anyone, right?
For sure. Like
So
I think a big thing since the gym closed is people have lost a lot of structure. Like that's what's really missing for me personally. From my client base, when I've been reaching out, obviously a lot of people rely on the gym to get their fitness goals, but they're almost doing it to the point where it's too much. I feel like
mm,
it's awesome that we're able to do the virtual sessions and stuff just because we're still bringing that community to them, but we're also giving them that structure because right now, because the gym isn't there, a lot of people just don't make time to work out at all, right? Like I feel like that's been a
yeah,
huge struggle. That's really
yeah,
awesome that you're doing that with your groups though.
yeah.
Like they're big. What do you feel has been like the biggest struggle as a trainer for you right now?
um I get like I get a lot of clients that want to do the training, and this goes back to even being in the gym and just a trainer as general. It's not
Mhm.
because of quarantine or anything, but I think it's just trying to show people value even though it's just a home workout,
For sure.
and like
Yeah.
the price is what it is because there's so much value to it, right? So it's like even though you're at home, there's still so much you can do,
Yeah.
right? And so it's a really hard conversation when people are like, oh well, then how much is it? And then you like you tell them you're like, oh, this is what you get out of it, like, and they're super excited, and then after they're like, oh well, you know what, it's too much for me, like I can go and find free live training and all that. And so I think what people are forgetting is like, and you actually said this to me when I asked you about how do you push your own business in a saturated industry, right?
Mhm.
When people are offering all of these like free training and free workouts, how do you stand out from that?
Yeah. I feel personally for myself, the biggest struggle has been watching people that I've trained and helped for so long just completely stop. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
been like so hard for me because I've always been one of those people like, unlike you, I'm not a power lifter. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm just a guy that likes to work out and stay in shape. So like for me, the like people associate their trainer with the gym so much, but they don't understand that we can actually offer them help outside of the gym. Like for
Mm-hmm.
me personally, like when I first started working out, I didn't even work out in a gym. So like to see someone quit working out because we don't have a gym, it's like it hurts because I wish I could just take their place and like kickstart them a bit and then like
Yeah.
keep them moving, right? The other thing with that too is sort of like what you said, the market's like so saturated right now because everyone thinks that they can get great results doing free workouts. And like, don't get me wrong, you can get results doing free workouts, but the biggest pet peeve of mine for that is, yeah, you're getting great results doing free workouts, but they're not results towards anything you want. They're just a workout, right? So you sort
Mm-hmm.
of get in that weird spot where it's like, yeah, you can do the free workouts, but like, are you motivated or disciplined enough to do them? And that's where I feel like that struggle's been. For me personally, I'm super grateful that I'm even able to work right now because like obviously there's a lot of people that can't. But at this, but what it's taught me now is there's so many people out there that, especially general population, that should be taking advantage of this time to like kickstart this because they're like me. They're not like you. Like they don't need to have a squat rack or like like a bench press or all that stuff.
Oh,
They
totally.
just
Yeah.
need to move, right? And
Yeah.
they don't get that. They think that they need the gym to be getting good results. But even for me, like I've been talking with my friends and some of my coworkers, and it's just they're all like, man, you're doing all this like gymnastic stuff, like you're doing L sits and all this stuff. And I'm just like, there's nothing else to do. I might as well do
Yeah.
something and get good at it, right?
It's so true. Like actually, even just as like an athlete, I'm like trying to get more creative in the things that I'm doing at home
Mm-hmm.
because, and it's actually good because like I can take this now, say when the gym does open and I can be like, oh, hey, like this is what you can do when you're at home or
Yeah.
something like that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's so much, I don't know, like people say that they don't have time, but in reality, like
You have more time than
all we
ever.
have is time,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you can take the 45 minutes out of your day to do something. Like hell, some of the girls, like you were saying, a lot of your clients, that have worked so hard and now that they say they need the gym, right? Like I have a couple clients that are like that too, where they're like, they worked with me for 2-3 years or something, and then they're like, well, I don't have weights. Like, but it's like, why would you want to throw all your hard work away and say you don't have time when you can honestly just do like body weight stuff for
Yeah.
45 minutes to an hour and
Yeah.
at least maintain. It's not like you have to you know lift so much weight at this point, but at
Yeah.
least maintain it.
Well, even for like to give you an example of that too, like even for myself, like I've been working out 13 years and I've gotten results through the quarantine. And all I have is like some weights I got from Brian's grandpa that are full of sand. Like it's not like anything
Yeah.
spectacular, right? But the thing is, you can make it work. And it's for me, like I'm just trying to make sure that when I go into the gym, I'm treating this almost like a preparation phase. So like when I go back into the gym, I can just hop back into everything right away. Like
Hmm.
that's what I'm really
Oh,
concerned about.
totally. Like I have a client that has nothing, not even bands, but I'm like, hey, can you find something heavy? And she's like, well, I have, this big thing of laundry detergent.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sweet, let's use it, right?
Yeah,
So I'm like, there's so many things that you can do and get creative, right? I
for
think
sure.
another thing, because I'd wanted to do more, at home stuff and online training stuff.
Mhm.
And so I actually was able to take some time, to actually structure it properly and work towards that, which is really nice because for the past, like, I don't know, year and a half that I was running my business, it was mostly in person, right? And I was killing it, but like I also felt like I was, getting burnt out.
For
So I
sure.
think
Every
now is like,
trainer, just
yeah,
like every trainer.
yeah, because like, well, when you run your own business too, you have to do all the back end things too, right?
Hmm.
Or
Yeah.
you pay, a lot of money for it.
Yep.
And so I was like, well, you know, I was taking care of everything, learning how to do everything. And now I'm actually taking time where it's like, okay, let me try to have a structured online business. And it is hard. And because like a lot of people that do it now don't even do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I wanted to be able to have something like a system where I can do it properly rather than just like what everyone says they're doing, that they're an online trainer and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Like even to that point, like a lot of the online business is saturated by people that won't even go to school to get like the most basic certification. Like they're just like people out there just like posting like, I'm jacked, come work out. And then it sort of takes away from the people like us that have actually like gone to seminars, put in our education, put in our time and have experience. Like it's sort of like it's a scary place for someone looking to hire a trainer, to be honest, because even for me, as I've been a trainer for almost 10 years now, and I've always been one of the guys, it's almost like the cleanup crew. Like when someone quits and goes on to do something else, I'm the guy that takes them on, right? And then you just like hear these horror stories about like people that took advantage of people and just like they didn't get anything, right? I feel right now the awesome part, there's a pro and a con to what's going on right now. Obviously we can't use the gym, but like the pro coming out of this is a lot of my clients are learning that, hey, if I don't have time to go to the gym now, I can get a good workout in at home. And like that is something like, even for myself, when this all first started, I was like, oh man, like how can I make this work? But then the feedback I'm getting, like my clients are gaining muscle and getting good results. Like this isn't like some like maintenance phase that everyone thinks it's going to be. Like this is something where you can make advancements, but you got to make sure that you're actually paying attention to your goals and progressing your program, which is why it's so important to actually have a program for you and not be doing something random so that you know what it's going to do and you get something out of it, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Just off that too, what do you feel like has been like the feedback from your clients right now? Like what's been like going in the air through your client base? Have they been like sort of down, or have they been pretty happy like that we've transitioned?
Honestly, like 80% of them are down. And like, I just find like with women, it hits different. Like it hits so much different because I feel like they need to get out of, it's harder for them to get out of their own heads, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So a lot of my clients are struggling to even, some of them are even struggling just to, you know, make it to their group classes.
Yeah.
Right. And so even though I can hold them accountable for that, and you know they're paying for that, they it's so hard for them to just turn on their phone and get up. Right. So, and I think the most important is like I try to talk to them outside of the classes as well. So I'll always try to check in with like even some of my clients that I know are going through a lot mentally right now, and say like they have like you know an immune disorder, and they know that they're like scared to work out, and it's like I don't know what's actually going on with their body, so it's like I can't even have like an input on it, right?
Yeah.
So just checking in with them and being like, hey, like how's it going? I think it goes like a long way.
Yeah.
Right. And like I've had a lot of them that want to like just stop working out completely. Like they're like, well, I don't even know if the gym opens, I don't even think I want to come back.
Yeah, I think they're scared too. I think they're really scared to come back to the gym because there's a lot of unknown, right? Like even, I don't know about you, but even for me, like I'm not exactly a young buck anymore. Like I'm 34. Like I'm sort of like, I have been a bit nervous about going back to the gym. And like a lot of that's just gonna be with time. Like time is gonna just tell everything because there's so many uncertainties, right? Like for my client base, obviously I train a wide variety of clients like you. Like I have general pop, I train powerlifters, I train bodybuilders and everything. I feel like almost every single powerlifter I know that they've almost all quit working out if they didn't have the equipment at home, or they were like super scrambly to get their equipment at their house. But but the sad part is like it's like we talked about earlier. It's just we need to all understand that the gym is a great tool. Like don't get me wrong, like the gym is an amazing tool to help better our fitness level, but we can do a lot outside of that, man. Like it's crazy just to watch people think that like they need the gym to do something like that. And I'm very lucky. Like I'm in a place where I can help people understand that that's not the case at all. Same thing like with you though, like most of my client base, like I'd say it's like 50-50. Like I got clients that are doing really well, but then I also have those clients like you talked about where like it's almost like they just want to stop working out. And it's really hard as like, you've known me for a long time. Like I am probably one of the only trainers out there. Well, not the only one, but when that kind of stuff happens, like it's not even a business thing. Like I take it super personally, like in a sad way. Like I take a lot of that on my shoulder. Like when I see a client, like even like any struggle like that, like, man, I'm like thinking about that like for 3 or 4 days. Like it's not like I can just get it out of my head. So it's been pretty rough on me. But I think that's a good thing too. Like I've had some clients that I've talked to, and like I know I'm annoying, but I just keep bothering them until
but like that's
the
right? thing is like our clients need us the most right now, right? Because like we know that we can do so many things at home, right? And we're like, oh, let's try this out. You know, I'm gonna put a workout in, you know, at this time, or I'm gonna go for a run at this time. But like they're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
right.
They're like, just like us.
Yeah. So they're still trying to figure out, okay, what works for them, when they're gonna work out, how they feel today, like how they're gonna get through certain problems and things like that. So like a lot of my clients I talk to aren't even working out right now, but they just need someone to talk to because they don't know who else to talk to about their problems. And like I'm fine with that, right? Because I'm like they're it's such a weird time, and you know I don't know what they're going through. And if I can just be there to be like, hey, like how's your day, it might change their mood. I don't know,
of course,
but at least I did something that, you know, could help them, right?
Yeah, and you're like me. Like you've always been a community first type of person, right? Like when you see, it's like when you see someone struggling that has invested in you to help them, it's like someone in your tribe is like falling behind, right? Like it's really it's tough to take on. I think too, like what a lot of people don't get right now is, and this is something like even me, like when this quarantine first started, trust me, I took my time. Like I got laid off. I was like, man, what the hell? Like, what am I going to do? Right. And I was just like I took like 2-3 weeks to really get back in the groove of things. And I think the main thing that pushed me into doing it is I was like, okay, like all this stuff is going on, but at the same time, we can't just all put our lives on hold for this happening. Right. Like there's so many people being affected financially. The last thing we need to do is let our mental health like just get smashed. Because for me, and I know a lot of people, like working out is why my mental health is so good, right? And like a lot of people don't talk about that. Like if you want to boost your immune system, it all comes down to diet, sleep, and exercise. And I'm not saying that's gonna prevent you from getting sick, but it's going to give you a higher chance that if you do get sick, nothing bad happens, right? And like people aren't promoting that because we're just getting so flooded with the news where it's like negativity. And then here I am coming into these people's lives. It's like, hey guys, let's have some fun, like, and work out and be positive, right? And I think it's like you said, we a lot of trainers need to understand that. Like sometimes all the people we help, they just need someone to talk to, because even it's like almost overwhelming for us to come in with that positivity and like throw it on them after they've been in sort of a slump, because they're like, man, I wish I was like them. Like, I don't feel like that. Like, I feel like crap. And they'll almost, like, I've had people avoiding me because of that. Because I'm coming in, they're like seeing all these awesome posts on my Instagram, you know, but I'm dealing with my own stuff too. It's just because I have that structure in my life where like I'm working out and like I'm creating a schedule for myself. Like I'm not being as affected as much as someone that's just like taking it day by day and getting hit in the chin every day, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. And like, I've been getting a lot of questions like, oh, like, how are you so positive? How are you so motivated to work out? And well, I'm like, you know, I worked so hard to get myself out of a slump. Like this shit isn't gonna, you know, it can't bring me back down. No. Right. Cause I was like, I had been in a deep hole before like this, where I don't know how to explain it, but like, you feel empty, you feel lost, you don't know what to do. And I get that like a lot of people are in that situation, but you have to pull yourself out of that somehow.
Yeah, you have to work on it.
And like that's the hardest part. But once you're out of that, like you keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
100%.
when they ask me, I'm like, well, I don't want to go back to how I was. I don't want to go back to where I'm just comfortable and, you know, not really growing as a person and, you know, learning other things. Like, you have all the time to do that right now.
Yeah.
Right. And
I
like,
think when you look at that too, like even before this, like a lot of people, like if they don't follow you on social media, but like you went through an injury, like right before this happened. Right. And like, even me, I've been dealing with my own stuff. And like, that's always in the back of my mind. It's like how, like if you start getting in this slump, like I was doing a life coaching session with someone the other day. And like, if you don't do things for your self-care and you don't keep taking care of yourself, how do you expect yourself to have fulfillment every day? Right. So like if you let those injuries creep back up, or like you're not doing those simple little things that are going to give you that fulfillment every day, how do you expect to feel good? Like it's impossible. Right. And people don't get, like for me, obviously I'm different. Like I don't really feel like I need motivation to work out anymore. And that's just because it's part of my life. Maybe it's because I'm a trainer, but I also, because when I don't work out, I turn into a hangry person almost, like you know what I mean? But for me,
you just feel like blah, like you feel like you haven't accomplished anything, right?
Yeah, it's so true. So going from that, let's talk about this too. I wanted to bring this up today because I've talked to Brian a lot about this. Shout out to Brian. But what do you feel like was harder, being at a high level power lifter or being on stage for a show where you got to be ripped?
On stage, definitely. The only reason I say that is because with powerlifting, you get the lift or you don't, right?
Yeah.
When you're on stage, so many things come into factor. Oh, your back isn't wide enough, or your glutes aren't big enough, like your legs aren't conditioned enough, like your abs aren't popping. Like there's so many things, or the color of your suit doesn't suit you, so there's so many little factors, and like every pose feels like forever. And you guys don't see it because when you're watching it's so fast, but like you actually have to hold it and you have to like breathe while holding it. And it's so funny because when I'm training my my group classes, because I actually do it with them, and I am like out of breath, like I'm trying to find the energy to coach them at the same time, but like do the workout at the same time. And it reminds me of like when I'm on stage, because I'm just like, you're so out of breath after, like I was so tired after the group sessions. I'm like, and it's all body weight. Like I'm not lifting 300 pounds. I'm not squatting as much as I would, but it gets to you, like it drains you.
I just to like talk about that too, like obviously like I helped you with one of your preps for your show, and like I helped Brian out, and my friend Paulo and my friend Karan, and it's funny, every single time it's like dealing with the most hangry person I've ever met in my life.
But see, like with that, because we went to Worlds and we like crushed it.
Yeah.
But that prep went so well, where it was like I didn't have anything to worry about. I didn't have to cut. Yeah. I didn't have to, overthink my lifts or anything.
And
but like when you're
well
doing,
too.
and when you're doing a bikini show, your hormones come into place. Your schedule is different. Mentality is different. You're depleted. You're tired. Some days you can't sleep, right? Like. Yeah. So there's so many things that could mess up like one day or 1 week.
Oh yeah.
Right. So then, it's so much harder.
I feel like they both have their mental games. Yeah, they both have their. I feel like they both have their mental problems. Like from an outside point of view, like as a coach, I feel like the bodybuilding stuff, like there's so much like self-doubt, like just like, cause you look in the mirror and you see all these other people and you're just like, oh my God, like what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah.
Versus like a power lifter, like, me, like I always take a scientific approach, and like we go to some of these meets and you just see some like crazy stuff where these guys like just try to go all out on their first lift and get that like mental smash. And then they like, just like I don't know, like obviously I've never competed, like I've only seen this from a coach's standpoint, but trust me, like I've been in positions like Andre, for example. Andre is like one of the best lifters I've ever trained in my life. Okay. He scared me so bad in his last meet when he missed his opening deadlift and it didn't even come off the floor. And like the thing is, because like you can in powerlifting too, like it can play tricks on you for sure.
Yeah.
Because like I've even seen you be put in a position. I can't remember what meet that was. I think it was the one at the barracks where like you hit that squat and they called you on depth. And then like when you have to go back and hit that same weight again, like I can tell the difference in your mindset. Like you were upset. Yeah. But it was like very nerve wracking, like as a coach and like watching you, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like that was actually really funny, but that was when I missed the first 2 squats and I had to get the third one to even like qualify or place.
Yeah.
Right. So
I remember too, like going into that prep, like when we worked together for that one, that prep did not go well at all. Like that was like probably like when we were training for that meet, like we had like a lot of things coming up, like with tightness and everything. It wasn't like the world's meet where like everything went in and went perfect. Like we had like a lot of stuff on that one.
I think like whenever somebody's competing, they need to like look at, you know, like what's gonna go on in the 3 months coming up to their meet, right? So like remember I went on vacation and like we both kind of knew that like that was probably gonna set us back, and like I knew it too, but like, you know, still young, still wanted to go.
It was still fun. Like it was still a lot of fun.
So and I still did well. Like it's not like I didn't do well.
Yeah.
But like you kind of have to look at what you're going into as well. So like even some of my girls that, you know, have thought about like bikini or bodybuilding, it's like go in with the right mindset. Like if you're just going into it because, you know, you want to be this amount of body fat and you want to say you did it, like I don't know, for me I'm like, if you're gonna do it well.
Yeah.
Right. So if it's like somebody who's like doesn't work out 4 or 5 times a week, maybe like once or twice a week, I would say give yourself more time. Right. So you have to have like a certain drive and a certain like mentality if you're going to want to compete. Right.
I agree 100%. Like even like powerlifting, I think you can get away with a bit more stuff because you can go into a powerlifting meet and just have a good time and maybe not PR, but you know, just hit some heavy lifts. But especially when it comes to committing to a bodybuilding show, I feel like you're all in or nothing because I've seen people compete that should not have been there. And like, when you talk to them, they do not feel good after. You know what I mean? Like there's not a feeling of fulfillment. We're like because the community in bodybuilding and powerlifting, well, I guess at the high level of powerlifting is sort of the same thing, but like people don't want you to win. Like it's a very weird place in bodybuilding because like when you go there, like the last meet I did with Brian, there were people coming up and talking shit to us. And I was just like, bro, like we're here to have fun, man. Like get out of here, right?
Oh,
for like,
sure.
Oh, you should work on this pose. You should do that. And then we ended up beating the guy that was talking all that shit. And Brian was just like so happy about that. But in my head, I'm like, man, I can't believe, because like as soon as the guy walked away, I'm like, Brian, like do not listen to this guy. Like I've been at other bodybuilding shows where this guy's done this, like, and it's just weird because not to get too sidetracked off what I was saying, but like when you go and you get into a competitive level where it's like at that level, like you're gonna have people there that are trying to screw with you. And it's one of those things where like if you don't come in prepared, you are not going to have a good day. Like it's not going to be fun. Like I've watched powerlifters go into meets that I've trained that didn't put 100% effort in and weren't honest with what we were doing going into the meet, that completely bombed. And then they see everyone else having a good time and they just like they feel like crap, right? And like that's not what we want to get out of these. Like even for you, I've seen you with some of your clients in the last meeting and it looked like everyone had a blast. And that's really what it should be about, because really, what are we doing when we go to these meets? Like even with 100% raw, that's one of the best things about them is like the community when we're at the meets are awesome. Like everyone's treating themselves on, everyone's having a great time, and that's what it's about. And the last thing you want to do is go into that blind and then like turn it from something where you should be enjoying having a good time, and then you're just like having the worst day of your life.
It's so true though, because like especially with bodybuilding and like bikini and like women, they have, I find, after the show they have a very hard time, you know, accepting that their body's going to go back to normal, right? And like I'm kind of grateful that like I don't really have that mindset, because it's like I've I feel like I've done enough where I know my body's going to, you know, go back to normal, and then I could start lifting heavy shit again, right?
For
So,
sure.
but a lot of girls that I've, you know, talked to, they've told me like, oh, I did a bikini show and then I gained all this weight. Like, can you help me?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think they forget that that's what's going to happen, and like their expectations are a little bit different, where they
For sure.
think they're, you know, going to do the bikini show and they're going to look like that forever, right? And it's very hard, and it's almost kind of sad that like girls put themselves through that.
I agree. And it's not
Yeah.
healthy to be there either. Like it's
Yeah.
well known, like if a girl takes her body fat under like 17%, like you get a lot of health problems, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
feel that's the one dangerous thing about doing those shows too, if you don't know what to expect, is like you can almost create like body issues with yourself because you think you look really great on that stage, which you do, but that's
Mm-hmm.
not how you look. Like, let's be honest, like that's not how you should look if you're healthy. And
Oh
like
yeah.
like you see all these pictures like on Instagram and like all these social medias where these people are ripped and people have this idea that that's how they should look. But some of the most unhealthy people I've ever seen are on those stages. Like they don't see them
Mm-hmm.
backstage like curled over in a ball, like dying, like waiting to go back out. They just see like
Yeah.
the smile and like
Yeah. So you definitely have to do it like for the
for
right
the right
reasons, and you
reasons.
have to go with like the right mindset, and definitely have like a coach that knows why you're doing it,
Oh yeah.
right? Because like if you just have somebody that's like going to take you through it, you know, you're going to pay them, and then that's it. And then once the show's over, you know, they gain all that weight, and then they go through that vicious cycle where it's like, oh, I hate my body, like I gained so much weight, and then they don't know what to do again,
Right.
right?
I think that's why too is so key. Like even you, when you did that one with Leo, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like hiring a really good nutritionist is like so key with that stuff for that happening, because then at least you reverse diet and it's not like a quick change. Because most people, when they finish that show, the first thing they do is like go to McDonald's and crush like 10,000 calories and just like put on like 20 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
So just last thing I want to ask you, like what are your plans for the next like month? Like what do you see yourself doing most both business wise and like for your fitness level?
Um, so my birthday is in 5 weeks, so I
Yeah.
am actually trying 26.
Oh
Woo!
damn.
But I don't know. I'm doing a mini prep for myself just because like yeah,
You
I
want the
just want
challenge?
to. Yeah, I want the challenge. But I'm also running a 6 week program with a few of the girls and a few of my
Sweet.
clients. Um, just so I can also help them like um, hold themselves accountable to something as well. And I don't know, like I've actually been able to read a lot of books lately, which is nice. Like I
That's
didn't
good.
I tried to read a lot when I was, you know, working at the gym, but like I was never giving time for myself, right?
Mhm.
So it's nice to be doing that. But yeah, just taking it day by day, trying to spread more positive
Did you
stuff,
just
I guess.
sigh when you saying that?
Just trying to like I guess spread more positivity, and like, you know, if even I've been trying to post a lot more of like just basic workouts people can do
Yeah.
on my Instagram, because I'm like, you know, if I can teach one person one thing a day,
Yeah.
like that's better than nothing,
Yeah. And
right? And
even
I've
if you can
been
spark them too, right? Spark them to get moving a
yeah,
bit.
and like it's not like they message me or anything, but like I know people are watching it, because like I'll
Mhm.
get like 12 people saving the exercise, or
Yeah.
20 people, or like some girls will be like, oh my god, I'm gonna try this, like this looks good, or
Mhm.
things like that, right?
Yeah, that's good. Like, and the thing
Yeah.
with that too is like even the reason why I started this YouTube channel is like it just helps benefit my community. Like if I'm not training them, but I've met them and like they have pain or something, like there's no reason why they should be living with that, whether they train with me or not. Right. And I feel like you've done a really good job of that. And same with like a lot of trainers we've worked with in the past, is like just spreading that community out there. And just because there's also that notion right now too, where people are like, you shouldn't put out free stuff. Like you should be charging for everything. But at the same time, it's like, the free stuff is a tool. It's not going to get you necessarily to your goal, but if it sparks you or it does something good for you, it's a good thing for it to be out there and you be putting out content, right?
Yeah.
Like you said too, like even for myself, like this is crazy because like I wasn't burning out. Like I have a pretty good work-life balance, but I'm a married man now, and it's been amazing just like have that extra time to like spend with my wife, because she's like a 9 to 5, right? And I'm like a noon to 10, so it's not really, it wasn't ideal. I'm like, same thing with you. Like I've been able to research and read so many books, because now that we're changing our training styles up a bit to help the people the way we can now, it's like it's awesome. Like I always look at these as an opportunity because it sparks my brain to research new stuff. And now a lot of my clients are like, when we go back to the gym, can we incorporate some of this stuff? And in my head I'm like, yeah, like this is great.
I think it's just reminding people that like they're like, it's such a hard time for people to get active and like, you know, lose the weight that they want, but like reminding them that, you know, they should be exercising, they should be, you know, going outside, things like that. Because I've had to delete so many people, like I'm not gonna lie, that are promoting, you know, things that are like, oh, this is a weight loss supplement, like you're gonna lose weight so fast, but then it's like when they don't take it, they're just gonna gain all that back, and then they're not gonna realize like, you know, taking this and eating pizza and eating burgers every day isn't really gonna help them in the long run.
Yeah.
You know,
and just to, like to add to that too, I think a lot of people need to realize, like as trainers like ourselves, we struggle too. Like it's not like we're going into all these workouts like, man, I can't wait to do this. It's like there is like a lot of like mind games with us too, because it's even like 2 days ago I was like, oh man, I don't want to do this, but I made it, so I got to get it done, and I just like got it done, right? And like people think we're like, oh, you don't understand what it's like. Like, trust me, I understand what it's like. Like, I've gone through an injury. Like, I have, like, if you think I enjoy doing bodyweight deadlifts over deadlifting 400 pounds, you're freaking crazy, right? But I'm just doing it because I know it's good for me, and it's something we got to do.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Where can they find you at, Sherine, if they're looking for you on social media?
So my Instagram is Sherine with 3 E's at the end. So SHERINEE.
I'll put it in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah. If they want to go to my training page, so my business account, it's f.e.training. So
Perfect.
That's where they can find me.
Perfect. That was awesome. Thanks so much for coming on. This was great.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve.